Did June just set records for the entire lifetime of Sienna? I'm about to tell you that maybe it did on this market report of real estate here in Sienna, Texas, July 2025. Let's get into it. Welcome back, Sienna friends, neighbors. So glad to be back with you. Ryan Adams with the Adams Group here at Real Broker. Did June actually set records beyond any other time that has ever happened in Sienna? There are two records that it did set. I'm gonna tell you soon what those records were. Here's what we're doing. As always, we're looking at the real estate market here in Sienna, comparing June 2024 numbers to June 2025 to see what's happening in the market report. And if you're a homeowner, you're a seller, maybe you have your house on the market, hint, hint, that's maybe one of the records. You're curious what's actually happened. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's happened. First off, just some major things. Interest rates, as we expected, nothing has really changed. As I said back in November of last year, the expectation is they're gonna bounce between 6% and 7% the whole year. That's what they've been doing. We saw a little bit of the lows and sixes, but for the most part, they've been around the mid sixes to high sixes of that interest rate. Don't really see any major changes. There's lots of rumors about Fed Chair Jerome Powell getting fired. Maybe that a new guy comes in, brings rates down. That's all here or there. The bottom line is we know what we know, and this is probably where rates are gonna be at. Even if we did lower the federal interest rate, I don't think it's gonna have that dramatic of effect to bring us down into fives, which is where we would probably see a huge jump in transactions. So I'm gonna jump into the numbers, tell you exactly what happened, and then you can take the guess for yourself. I'm also gonna answer some of your questions that we get often. Hopefully that'll help you as well. So number of sales, we had 119 sales. That is up 30% to where it was at last year in June. Great number. And here's one of the records that it did break. This was the second highest month of sales ever in Sienna. Part of that, more homes are here, but part of that is there is a lot more buyer activity, and that was behind the record-breaking month of June 2020. Remember, we just came out of COVID. Buyers rushed to the market, mainly because we couldn't do anything for 2 months, so that's probably part of it, and then the rates dropped so dramatically. Days on market, 79 days is the average time it's taking to sell a home. That's up 31% of where it was. So analysis for that is if you're a seller, you are definitely feeling that because homes are not flying off the shelf. Even the homes we saw flying off the shelf 2 years ago are still taking a longer time to sell. You really have got to be on point with your marketing and making sure your home is as turnkey as you can possibly make it. The only way you can really answer that question is to talk to a real estate professional that knows this area, knows what homes will fly off the market. For instance, I have homes that we are currently listing that are still sitting on the market, mainly because there's still things that need to be done, but our sellers are waiting for that buyer to come along. But we've also had homes that the sellers have done everything to that home that you could possibly do, and we had multiple offer situations. So it really kind of depends on the home, the upgrades, the renovations that it has. Active listings. This is the biggest record right here. 398 listings as we're filming this are on the market. That's up 32.6% from last year. This marks the most homes that have ever been available in the history of Sienna, both new construction and resale. About half are resale and half are new construction. So really, this is one of the reasons we have such a long days on market is because we have so many homes that are still available on the market, 398. So homeowners, if you're considering selling, just know, number one, you're probably gonna face a lot more competition, obviously, because the most homes have ever been on the market. And then number two is that it's still taking that 79 days to sell a home on average. I did a report back in November that if you're zoned to Crawford High School, those are even taking a little bit longer. I think people are still a little nervous of whether that school is gonna be a great school. Time will tell, but that's what's slowing that school down per se. And just so you know, resale homeowners, one thing that you can be encouraged with, there's only one small section of Sienna that has new construction that's zoned to Ridge Point. Everything else that's beyond the bridge is zoned to Crawford. So that's a great selling point if you're a homeowner, that your home would be zoned to Ridge Point versus a lot of that new construction gonna be zoned to Crawford, the majority of it, in fact. Last thing, which is another surprising factor, is average sales price. Now this is again surprising. 608,226. That's up 2.67%. A lot of people have thought with days on market continuing to grow, having a record number of listings that are hitting the market, that you would think the sales price would go down. Well, as of now, it has not. And as I had said back last year, we only see it continuing to rise over the next 2 to 3 years. I think actually a video I did last year, I said, for 2025, we're projecting a 3% increase, 2026, a 3%, and 2027, the same thing. That looks to be the case. Couple other bonus stats that might help you out. We got a lot of new construction still, but most of that's being built in the back. And then you've got, resale. How is resale performing compared to new construction? The average resale price of a home is $614,814, and that's up just 0.5% from it was last year. So that's actually really good, because a lot of times new construction can bring resale pricing down, but in our neighborhood it is not, and partly it's the location and the school zonings. So really the resale home market still is high and continuing to see appreciation with that. Some really cool factors, homes with pools. What's the average price of a home with pool selling in Sienna? Wow, a whopping $831,000, 487 bucks. So pools obviously are commanding a better price. And part of that is in our neighborhood, we've got the upper $1 million range, some a little over $2 million. That's helping drive that number up, mainly because most of those homes that are in that million, almost every one of them has a pool for the most part. Price per square foot in Sienna, the average at this point is $183 a square foot. But again, it really kind of depends on your neighborhood, the specs you have of your home, lots of different factors. Probably is recently the low I've really seen is the low 100s, and the highest I've seen in our neighborhood is kind of the low 200s a square foot. But obviously that depends on lot size, lots of different factors, but just want to throw that number out to you. A great thing to think about as a seller is what is the list to sales price ratio. Still today, that means what is the price do you list it for versus what does it end up selling for? Today it's 98.5%. That means for whatever you list it for, on average, you're getting 98.5%. And that's kind of been the way it's been for the last 3 years. The only time it's been higher than that was in 2020 and 2021, in which it was right at 100%. All right, now to take some questions I've been getting. How can prices keep increasing while days on market and active inventory has significantly risen? Well, here's the deal. Inventory days on market have obviously risen, so that means that it's just more of a competitive selling environment, but it also means there's a lot of buyers who are wanting homes still, and it would be a lot more buyers had we have lower interest rates. So just think the buyers are out there. They are being very selective, but there's still a good amount out there. Because home prices are rising, and especially a lot of the upper category, million plus, there's been a lot more of that. Mainly because a lot of those are cash buyers or just extremely well off financially. So because a lot more sales are happening there, it's able to raise the overall price. One thing I may do is just look at, hey, homes under 500K, what's the price of those? What's the average been around those? And then maybe that'll help see if those prices are dropping. But overall, that's one of the main reasons. Seems to be a pretty balanced market. We've got, even with that much inventory, we're still about 5 months of inventory in Sienna, which means we're still on the seller's market side, even though it may not feel that way. Lots of pockets in Sienna, though, are in a buyer's market. Second thing, should I sell now or should I wait? Man, it still really depends on your individual goals. Home prices still high, but it's gonna take a lot longer to sell. If you're thinking about selling, what I would just really encourage you to do is meet with a professional real estate agent like ourselves, like our team, and we can at least walk you through and show you what your options would be if you were to hit the market. That's probably the best suggestion, but it really comes down to your goals. But are we in a market where buyers are still buying homes? Absolutely. Again, we had a record amount of sales in June. Last questions, are homes with pools really worth that much more? Yes, they really are. I would not tell you though that if you were to go put a pool in your home today and you spend $125,000, probably average of what a good pool in a spa would be, that you're gonna get that back. You probably would not get that back. There you go, there you have it. There is the Sienna market real estate update. Just a little update for us too. We are now officially in our office in Sienna, getting our last permit, and we'll be in there by the end of this week. Come by, say hi, have a drink, say hi, we'd love to see you. Thanks for tuning in as always. If you have any questions or comments, please do me a favor, drop a comment there with the question you might have, shoot us an email. If I can do anything for you, let me know. Ryan Adams with the Adams Group at Real. We'll see you next time.